Welcome to another edition of Here's Why with Mark and Eric. I'm Mark Traphagen, Senior Director of Online Marketing for Stone Temple Consulting, and this is
Eric Enge, CEO of Stone Temple Consulting.
Eric, I have a question for you today. In the past, traditionally, people thought if I'm going to do a guest posting strategy, if I want to become a writer and get my content out there, that it's good, maybe even better for SEO if I've published on as many different domains, domain diversity, as many different domains as I can with my content. Is that really necessary? Is it a good idea, or is it maybe even a bad idea?
At this point, it's actually a bad idea.
Really?
And the interesting thing about that is that I'm going to give you a simple math problem now to think through, okay? So let's imagine there's 100 domains in my space, right, that I'm interested in. And there's 10, really good ones. There's 20 pretty good ones, and 30 not so good ones, and what do they leave? 40 that are complete crap.
I'm glad you're keeping track of the numbers.
Okay, yeah. Well, see, I knew it was a simple math problem. And if I have this strategy of every time I do a guest post that I'm going to put it in a different domain, and I start with the very high quality domains, what happens to the quality of domain I'm going to be posting on over time?
You're going to eventually use up those good ones, and you're going to start going down and down and down.
You're going to get the crappy domains eventually, right? It's inevitable, right? So that's the first reason why you don't want to think about doing every guest post on a different domain. That's just a broken model of thinking in this day and age. The other reason is that, in fact, I'm going to explain this with an analogy. Imagine I came to you and said I just published an article in the New York Times.
I'm impressed, Eric.
There you go. Now, I go away and I come back tomorrow and I say, Mark, I'm a columnist in the New York Times.
Now I'm really impressed.
Exactly. And the search engines get this. Real world authority, forget the search engines, is much better built by having that repeat presence on those high authority sites than it is by maximizing the number of different sites I show up on. And the reality is those lower quality sites and those crappy sites have very little audience. As you know, I'm a big fan of other people's audiences, right? But the crappy sites don't really have any audience, right? So repeat posting on those higher authority sites is going to get me in front of more and more new people over and over again than any other strategy that I could implement. And now to bring the search engines back into the picture, they understand real authority now today better than they ever have before. So they get that repeat relationship actually deepens the value of that link. The interesting thing about this is it's counter to an old SEO maximum, and that SEO maximum came about because in the very early days of PageRank, people would go get site-wide links on very large, high authority sites, and then maybe they bought them, right? And so they were getting PageRank flow from millions of pages from these high authority sites, and their rankings were soaring. So Google made an adjustment in their algorithm at that time, and the adjustment they made was, okay, well, all those links from that one site is essentially one editorial vote. So we won't count the multiple links as much, okay? And that's where this logic came about, that people decided that it was better to be on as many different domains as possible.
Just to get more links that would count.
Right, because each different domain was essentially a fresh editorial vote. Well, no, not so much anymore, right? Yes, that site-wide stuff, Google is still going to deal really well with that. Don't start doing that because of this video, please. But when it comes to a guest posting strategy or byline article strategies, the phrase I prefer these days, you really want to think about columns on authoritative sites. It's the best way to go.
Great. So rather than worrying about finding a whole bunch of sites to write on, concentrate on the few that you really want to become an authority associated with, and seek to develop a relationship with them where they're going to publish your content again and again and again, so that you become, as you said, just like a newspaper columnist on that site.
You got it.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric, and thanks for watching another episode of Here's Why with Mark and Eric. Remember to check the description below for a valuable resource associated with this topic today, and we'll see you next time.